Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and I would say that to be a disciple is the kind of person, first of all, who is a disciple of another person, right? So it's a disciple. A disciple is not just simply a student. A disciple is not simply a fan. A disciple is someone who is following another person and another person's way of life. So in this case, to be a disciple of Christ then would be to say, he is the model, and I am the one who follows him in his modeling of here's how to live. One of the things that we get caught up in oftentimes, I think, as Catholics or as Christians is, I belong to Christ, he's my Savior, and so because of that I get to go to heaven, as opposed to I'm living this life as a disciple. I'm living in such a way that Jesus has taught us the art of living well. Not only has he given us salvation by his life, death, and resurrection, but he's also he's called us to actually live in a different way. And that different way is to live as he lived, to walk as he walked, and to love as he loved. And so a disciple is someone who continues to conform their lives to the life of the master. Now, practically, what does that look like? I would say there are some marks of the disciple. The disciple is one who believes certain things. They believe, he or she believes what Jesus teaches. And the disciple is someone who does certain things. They do what the master is asking us to do. In fact, Jesus has some teachings about this in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew's Gospel. He says, there are foolish people and there are wise people. The foolish person hears the teachings of the master, right? They know what the right thing to do is, but they don't do it. They build their house on sand. The wise person is the disciple who hears the teachings of the master and does them, puts them into practice, who knows the Father's will and does the Father's will, and they're building their house on a rock. Even more practically, what's that look like? I always like thinking or like perceiving it like this or conceiving it like this. And I got this from Focus. But a disciple is someone who's willing to change their schedule in order to get closer to Christ. It makes it super practical. And you can extend it to two other things. A disciple is someone who's willing to change their relationships in order to get closer to Christ. A disciple is someone who's willing to change how they use their money, how they use their resources in order to get closer to Christ. Because those are these three areas that are pretty close to, they're not just in our dreams, they're not just in our minds or intentions, they touch on how we spend our time, they touch on how we spend our gifts, they touch on how we spend our money. And a disciple is someone who will let all of those things be placed under the lordship of the master, under the lordship of Christ.